Good morning. Today is Thursday, September 10th. I am joined today by the Lieutenant Governor, Garland Gilchrist, Dr. Janae Caldoun, our Chief Medical Executive, the Director of Labor and Economic Opportunity Department, Jeff Donofrio, Andrea Acevedo, the President of SEIU Healthcare Michigan, John Walsh, the President of the Michigan Manufacturers Association, Rachel Hurst, the Corporate Affairs Manager for Kroger, and Russ Cavalluna, the President of Henry Ford College. We've got a number of people to speak today, so I'm going to keep my remarks short, but we will get to Q&A at the end. So right now, Michigan is serving as a model for our Midwestern neighbors and states across the country when it comes to fighting COVID-19. Even as we continue to ramp up testing, which we are doing at about 30,000 a day, which is quite a remarkable feat, our positivity has dropped. And here you can see our daily cases per million are lower than Midwestern states, all of our colleagues around us in the Midwest, and Texas is plotted on this as well. And you can see Michigan is leading. As you also can see here, our testing has risen rapidly. We are far above many other states, and the key to understanding this virus and keeping people safe is this ramping up of testing. And so we should be very proud we're doing over 30,000 per day now. So the aggressive action that we have taken over the last 6 months is working. But as always, we've got to remain vigilant. And that means continuing to wear our masks and practice safe physical distancing and doing everything in our power to protect ourselves, our families, our frontline workers, our most vulnerable populations, and our economy. Over the past 6 months, Michiganders across the state have put their lives on the line every single day to protect others from this deadly virus. Home and congregate care health workers have been taking care of elderly patients, janitors and custodians who have been working in our hospitals, grocery store workers who have been stocking the shelves so the rest of us can put food on the table, postal workers who show up every day and deliver our mail and our prescription drugs and our ballots. These men and women have emerged as the real heroes in the midst of this pandemic. And yet we know it's a lot more important that we act and treat them as the heroes they are, not just call them heroes. So we've got to work around the clock to ensure that long after this crisis is over, that our frontline workers have the support they need to get ahead in our country. Support, whether it is dealing with PTSD from especially those who've been on the front lines caring for people who've been battling COVID-19, or the people that have been showing up and putting their own health on the line to make sure the rest of us can stay safe. And so that's why today we are launching Michigan's Futures for Frontliners program. Historically, when Americans put their lives on the line for our country, the betterment of our country, to defend us from a common enemy, a grateful nation has afforded them some educational opportunities to show our gratitude. This is what motivated the GI Bill during President Franklin D. Roosevelt's term. He signed it into law during World War II to provide tuition to veterans to attend high school or get their post-secondary degree. It was a path to success for people that sacrificed for our country. In April, I announced a similar plan to honor the people who stayed on the front lines throughout this COVID-19 pandemic. Futures for Frontliners is a tuition-free college opportunity that will help more workers acquire technical certificates, associate degrees at our community colleges, and potentially bachelor degrees at our universities after this crisis is over. The program is a $24 million investment that is funded by the Governor's Emergency Education Relief Fund, part of the CARES Act funding. Tuition-free access to get an associate degree or an industry-recognized occupational certificate is a chance for thousands of people to get on a path to a good job that'll support themselves and their families. It also helps us close our skills gap here in Michigan, grow our economy, and increase our families' paychecks. This is the first program of its kind in the United States, and I'm hopeful that other states see the wisdom and follow Michigan's lead to create pathways to opportunity for people who've been on the front lines. So I encourage all frontline workers in Michigan to visit www.michigan.gov/frontliners to view the eligibility requirements, explore career opportunities, and see a list of local community colleges and get started on your application. Applications are due at 11:59 on December 31st. So you got a little bit of time, but we encourage you to act soon. As we work to rebuild economic opportunities for Americans post-pandemic, and I think it's important for us to acknowledge there will be a time when it's post-pandemic, and we are eager to get to that moment. But right now, we've got to continue to recognize that we're still in this fight. This virus remains a threat to our families, to our businesses, to our frontline workers, and of course, to our economy. In Michigan, we have taken a number of steps to ensure support for our frontline workers as we fight the crisis. We have secured millions of dollars worth of PPE. As you can probably remember, just 6 months ago, we didn't have enough masks to cover a single shift at some of our hospitals. And now we have stocked up so that we can be better prepared as we go forward into this fall. We've expanded child care for everyone serving on the front lines, and we are reducing the likelihood of future spread through mask requirements and working with businesses to ensure that we enforce these requirements all across the state. We're all truly in this together. These steps have been crucial for all of us, but for families and our loved ones everywhere. So I and everyone in my administration and everyone in this room, we are going to continue to work around the clock to protect our families and frontline workers and small businesses. And with that, I will hand it over to Dr. Khaldun for an update on what we are seeing in the numbers and across the state. Thank you. Oh, actually, I'm going to hand it over to the Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist.
Yeah, I don't have any numbers for you today, Governor. All right, good morning, everyone. I would like to thank there we go, we're exchanging this here. Governor Whitmer, Dr. Janae Khaldun. I want to also recognize Director Donofrio and our guests here for today's announcements. Andrea Acevedo from SEIU Healthcare, Rachel Hurst, John Walsh, and Russ Cavaluna. Thank you so much for your leadership and what you provide to our communities and to our state. I want to begin today, however, by really addressing the people of Michigan and saying thank you. Thank you for stepping up and for standing tall for all of us by taking this virus seriously. We are a state that respects science. We are proud of the tremendous educational, research, scientific, and medical institutions that we have built in this state throughout our state's history. And as the governor alluded, we're doing better, frankly, than a lot of other states because you took this virus so seriously. You listened to the experts, and you put the health and safety of your fellow Michiganders first. You don't have to take my word for it, actually, because as we talked about last week, President Trump's own coronavirus task force coordinator, Dr. Deborah Birx, praised the state of Michigan's people for their efforts to slow the spread and battle COVID-19 when she visited our state last week. So let's continue to mask up Michigan, and we can beat this disease. Today marks 6 months since Michigan recorded our state's first COVID-19 cases. It was in those early days that we realized just how many heroes, these unsung heroes, that we actually have in our communities, oftentimes working day in and day out to make our lives easier and safer. The Futures for Frontliners program is a national model, a first-of-its-kind down payment on our debt of gratitude to these brave women and men who stayed on the front lines during this pandemic. Because of their work, so many Michiganders were able to stay home and stay safe, which helped tremendously mitigate the spread of COVID-19. Now it is our turn to help them by providing a tuition-free pathway to a post-secondary education. You know, one of my favorite quotes on education is by the Swiss psychologist Jean Piaget, who wrote, "The goal of education is not merely to increase the amount of knowledge, but to create the possibilities for a person to invent and discover, to create people who are capable of doing new things." The reality is, there are people all across this state who are looking to further their education by increasing and expanding their skills. We want to support their pursuits too. Governor Whitmer set a goal to get 60% of Michiganders to earn a post-high school degree or certification in the next 10 years. Michigan was the last state in the Midwest to set such a post-secondary attainment goal, but we do not have to let that prevent us or keep us from being one of the first states to achieve such a goal. So that is why, in addition to the Futures for Frontliners program that we are just announcing, we're also announcing an additional program to help Michiganders upscale into new careers. We are partnering with the Modern States Education Alliance and the College Board to help Michiganders earn free college credit. This $1 million contribution will help adults attain a college degree by fully funding 10,000 college-level examination program exams, and pre-exam coursework over the next year. Let me say this plainly and clearly. This partnership will provide college credit for free. This program will save people time and money while helping them get another step closer to earning the degree or certification that paves the way for a wide range of durable and long-term employment, career, and entrepreneurial opportunities. To register for this Modern States courses, visit michigan.gov/skills to work. And to learn more about the college level examination program, visit the College Board's website at clep.collegeboard.org. We believe that everyone should have access to the skills and career training that they need to have a chance at a good paying job or to start their own business. Governor Whitmer and I recognize that the path forward is oftentimes through additional education and training opportunities. Education is the conduit for success. It is a critical pathway in a person's life that can transform simple interests into a lifelong career and familial prosperity. But more than that, education has the possibility to expose us to new thoughts, new ideas, and new possibilities. It's these experiences that Governor Whitmer and I want to develop and expand access to for every Michigander. I stand here before you as the Lieutenant Governor of our state because programs provided those sorts of educational and exposure experiences for me as a child and as a young adult. Because people created a pathway for me to attend college on scholarship. Just like we pave our roads with care and a vision toward enabling mobility and commerce, we must pave the pathways to potential, progress, and prosperity for all of the people of Michigan, regardless of their station in life. We are proud to progress toward this future through the Futures for Frontliners program and the college level examination program. So thank you, continue to mask up, and with that, I'd now like to introduce Dr. Janae Caldoun.
Good morning. Thank you, Governor and Lieutenant Governor. So yesterday we announced 108,595 cases and 6,552 deaths in the state due to COVID-19. As of last Friday, our 7-day state average was 55 cases per million, which is a consistent decrease over the previous 2 weeks. However, our percent of tests that were positive went up slightly to 3.2%. As always, regionally, we are seeing different patterns. The Detroit, Saginaw, and Upper Peninsula regions remain over 40 cases per million people. However, trends for new cases and test positivity in those areas are declining. The Grand Rapids, Jackson, and Lansing regions also have over 40 cases per million people. However, the trends for case rates and test positivity is increasing in these regions. The Kalamazoo region is also over 40 cases per million people, and while the percent of tests that are positive in that region are trending up, the case rate in the Kalamazoo region is trending downwards. The Traverse City region has the lowest case rate in the state at 27 cases per million, and they have 2.2% positivity. Currently, trends for new cases and positivity in the Traverse City region are also increasing. We continue to focus on quickly reaching out to people who test positive and understanding who their close contacts are. So it's important to note that over the past 30 days, approximately 19,000 Michiganders have been diagnosed with COVID-19. Local or state case investigators attempted an interview in nearly 15,000 of those cases within 24 hours of us receiving a referral for that positive test. For each positive case, we also identify their close contacts and monitor those people for 14 days to see if they develop symptoms. 99% of those contacts are reached out to within 24 hours of the health department staff getting their information. On some days, there are as many as 4,000 people who are actively being monitored for development of symptoms, so we can quickly get them a test if they aggressively track outbreaks. As of last Friday, there were 61 new outbreaks identified at the local health department level. That is 32 fewer than the previous week, which is a great sign. We also have 157 ongoing outbreaks across the state, and that's 65 fewer than we were tracking the previous week. Our top 5 categories for outbreaks are nursing facilities, manufacturing, healthcare, social gatherings, and restaurants. We will continue to watch these outbreaks very closely, and next week we will be posting information about outbreaks at schools, including colleges. I want to talk and emphasize the importance of continuing vigilance as our children go back to school. Parents, please continue to emphasize with your children, even elementary school children, the importance of washing hands, maintaining distance, and wearing a mask. This is not only important for when your child is physically in school. It's important if your child or anyone in the household is going out in public. None of us lives in a bubble. When there are cases in the community, they can easily spread to our homes, to our schools, and other places. So we have to remain vigilant at all times. And the sooner that we can, by working together, bring the COVID-19 case rates down low enough, the sooner more children will be able to have in-person learning. And this is something that every parent, educator, and teacher wants. I also know, again, I'm the mother of 3 children, that part of the fun of childhood is having gatherings with friends and play dates. This social interaction is important for our children's well-being. I completely understand that. But please consider not having those play dates as you normally would. Try to be creative and have video conference calls with your children's friends if possible. And if you must have a gathering, try to make it as small as possible and follow the governor's executive orders. Know that outdoor is safer than indoor, but outdoor does not mean that it's 100% safe. 6 feet of distance should be maintained wherever possible, and if you can't, you should wear a mask. Every time you have a gathering, there's a risk that someone there will have COVID-19. Not only could it spread to others and make people very ill, but it can also cause significant disruptions if someone is identified as a close contact and they have to stay out of school or work for 2 weeks. We're all in this together, and if we continue to be patient, it can avoid spread of the disease in our communities. I also want to talk about the importance of masks. Masks work. If they're worn correctly, they can decrease spread by as much as 70%. However, masks only work if you are wearing them appropriately. That means not down around your chin, not only over your mouth, but over your mouth and nose every time. Please remember this important point. If your friends, family, or coworkers are not wearing their mask appropriately, please give them a friendly reminder. We all have a role to play in fighting COVID-19. We all want to continue moving forward. So wear your mask appropriately, wash your hands, keep 6 feet of distance, and of course, get your flu shot this season. And with that, I'll turn it over to Director Jeff Donofrio.
Thank you, Dr. Caldoun, and thank you, Governor Whitmer, Lieutenant Governor Gilchrist. Really happy to be here today with our partners to talk about Future for Frontliners, but I do want to just mention one thing around COVID. In the Department of Labor and Economic Opportunity, we have, of course, MIOSHA, which is ensuring workplace safety for workers, for customers, and for communities. And I would again plug any employer out there who's looking to help understand what the rules are, understand best practices, can go to michigan.gov/COVID workplace safety. There's a host of resources and guides and a lot of different things you can download to help make sure that you keep your workplace safe. It's really important to our economy, to keeping our economy running, that we keep this COVID-19 pandemic flat and declining. I want to just acknowledge our partners in business, in labor, in education, and in the legislature. They have really stepped up throughout the last few months and throughout the last few years in helping us bridge the gap for education, because we know education is so important to economic opportunity in this state. You know, over the last 6 months, we've also seen that individuals have stepped up to save lives and keep our communities operating, these frontliners. They've worked to keep hospitals running, keep water and electricity flowing. They've helped us put food on the table, and they've manufactured and delivered ventilators and masks to those on the front lines battling the pandemic. They are the heroes of our generation. 75 years ago, another set of heroes came back from the fronts of World War II, and the federal government provided them, through the GI Bill, an opportunity to increase their education and increase their prosperity. What was true then is even more true today. Individual and family prosperity, the opportunity to advance in a career, to live a good quality of life, continues to be highly linked to education. Those with higher education earn more money. They're less exposed to unemployment or recession. They're less exposed to changes in our economy. They're also more likely to have expanded health insurance and be healthier because of it, an important thing that we have seen during this pandemic. But pathways to higher education are oftentimes difficult, primarily for adults who have to balance the work, family, and community obligations that they have. We also know that there are significant attainment gaps that exist by race, ethnicity, income, and geography. That's why the Future for Frontliners program is so important. It's a program that provides a tuition-free path to completing college certificates and degrees in in-demand jobs. It also helps if you don't have a high school diploma. Wherever you are in life, if you're a frontliner without a college degree, we're here to help you. We're here to help you along that pathway. It's really important, but it's not the only reason that this program is important. Each year, thousands of good-paying jobs, many in essential industries, go unfilled. When these jobs go unfilled, these companies that are creating these jobs lose the ability to grow and expand their businesses. Oftentimes, they look to other states to grow with more educated workforces. Programs like Future for Frontliners that will upskill thousands of Michiganders to fill these good-paying jobs will change that dynamic. Employers embracing these programs, like those represented here today, will also see additional benefits. By helping their employees link education to career development, particularly in the companies and the industries they're working in currently, they're closing the skills gap at home. They're also training the next generation of leaders. By supporting employees enrolled in classes with flexible schedules, with mentorship, with other wraparound support services, they're building bonds of goodwill that are going to help that team grow and be stronger. It's going to lead to lower turnover rates and higher productivity. I hope that every employer and every frontline worker are going to take advantage of this opportunity. But all of us can help. Even if we don't work in an essential industry, we know people who do. They're our friends, they're our neighbors, they're our family. Between now and December 31st, I ask you all to spread the word. Tell people to go to michigan.gov/frontliners. Help us thank our heroes and expand opportunity here in Michigan. I also want to just, thank a few people who've worked really hard on this program. Doug Ross, Michelle Richard, Ava Atari, and Brandy Johnson. It's because of their work that this program is coming to fruition today. With that, I want to turn it over to our next guest speaker, and I'll let her come up to the podium. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Andrea Acevedo, and I'm the president of SEIU Healthcare Michigan. We represent over 11,000 frontline healthcare workers. When COVID hit our communities in Michigan, our frontline workers were the first responders who put their lives on the line to protect us all. I remember how afraid our workers were. We didn't have enough testing, and we didn't have enough proper PPE to protect ourselves and our patients. Meanwhile, our hospitals and nursing homes began to pile up with COVID-19 patients. As the federal government failed to take action to protect us and our patients, we looked to our state for answers. That's why I'm so thankful that Governor Whitmer took swift action to protect us by shutting down the state to prevent the rapid spread of the virus. It wasn't an easy decision, but is undoubtedly the right decision. Through her leadership, I know we saved thousands of lives. By emphasizing science, Michigan is now one of the leaders in the country in the response to COVID-19. We have achieved this success through expansive testing, greater supplies of PPE, increasing hospital capacity, and allowing science to catch up to gain a better understanding of the virus. Thank you again, Governor Whitmer, for your leadership in this crisis. Now I'd like to talk about Governor Whitmer's new program, Future for Frontliners. This program will provide a tuition-free pathway to college or a technical certificate for thousands of our healthcare workers who don't currently have a college degree. Being able to get a tuition-free degree or training while on the job is a huge advantage in the changing healthcare landscape, where degrees, certificates, and training is paramount in growing one's skill set. With short staffing a challenge for our workers across many medical professions, this program helps create a pipeline of talent for growing healthcare workforce. Whether you're a hospital worker or a nursing home worker, you can take advantage of this opportunity in nearly every workplace. I'm so excited for our union workers who now have the opportunity to add new skills that'll help them advance in their careers. Finally, we thank Governor Whitmer for her commitment in supporting unions in every workplace. Whether you're a frontline worker comfortable in your career or a worker looking for new educational jobs or training, you deserve a living wage and benefits such as PTO, sick time, and affordable health care. Governor Whitmer continues to stand strong with unions and ensure that our workers are protected and safe in every workplace. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm John Walsh, the president of the Michigan Manufacturers Association, and on behalf of our association and the manufacturers across the state, I'd like to thank Governor Whitmer and the Lieutenant Governor for having us here today, for their leadership during this very difficult period in our state's history, and in particular for today, their leadership on Futures for Frontliners. The MMA represents Michigan manufacturers from the UP to the southern border, from east to west. We work in every industry, not just automotive, but aerospace, agriculture, healthcare, just to name a few. We represent the largest iconic names that you might know: Ford, GM, FCA, Dow, and Kellogg. However, 80% of our members are small businesses with 100 employees or less, truly the small business backbone of our economy. One of the things that all of our manufacturers are looking for is skilled trades. It was a big problem before the pandemic, and it's been exacerbated since the pandemic started. In response to this need, the Governor's Future for Frontliners program will address two critical needs in our industry. The first is to recognize and reward those workers who stayed on the front line, true heroes that are deserving of this investment in their future. Second, it will help upskill our workers to meet the needs of the 21st century economy. The program is flexible so that essential workers can pursue a college degree or a certificate while working, earning more pay and seeking advancements in their career. And by covering the cost of tuition, the program rewards our hardworking employees so that they can be on the job and back at school at the same time. From the arsenal of democracy to our response to COVID-19, time and again, manufacturers have answered the call to action. And for this, the 600,000 Michiganders that are working in the industry deserve our praise and our thanks. Governor, it is our honor to be your partner in this battle and to be a champion for the Futures for Frontliners program. Thank you. Thanks, Governor.
Good morning. I'm Rachel Hurst, Corporate Affairs Manager for the Kroger Company of Michigan. And good morning, Michiganders. Thank you, Governor Whitmer and the entire administration for allowing us to be part of this amazing announcement today. We are honored and we are truly humbled. Since the early 1900s, Kroger has been devoted to Michigan and our economy. We have grown to employ nearly 20,000 frontline associates covering 119 stores in multiple communities across our state. Our team's unwavering commitment during these unprecedented times makes me proud to work for an amazing company. Each and every day, keeping our customers, our associates safe while stocking our shelves and continuing to provide food to our communities is what we do every day. We are excited for them to have the opportunity to continue secondary education with the support, financial support, of the Future of Frontliners program, which pairs well with our Feed Your Future program that we too offer. Through education, our state will continue to grow and prosper. Navigating through these uncharted waters over the course of the past several months has been challenging for everyone across Michigan. And again, keeping our doors open each day to feed our customers and our communities while keeping each and every person safe will remain at the core of how we operate our business every day. We are in this together. Mask up, Michigan, and thank you again. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Russ Cavalluna. I'm the president of Henry Ford College. Madam Governor, Mr. Lieutenant Governor, excuse me. It's been a long time since I saw you on my campus, and we missed you there. It seems like a different world when we had you there. There hasn't been a lot of good news since then, but I'm so excited to be here this morning because there's great news this morning. Henry Ford College, and frankly, me personally, are proud to support the Futures for Frontliners program that's being discussed here today, because it'll work together with public and private entities to help Michigan build its future both individually and as a collective society. We believe this is a unique, in fact, first in the nation, program that'll help people who have earned a chance to a college education. These are the people who served our Michigan citizens on front line during the pandemic, and now we are going to put their futures at the forefront. These students who will enroll at Henry Ford College and other institutions like ours are going to look for ways to enhance their career path. They will not have time to waste. In fact, several of them are enrolled now and will be in the future, and they're already working. They're taking care of their families. They're going to be doing that while they go to school. And so we are going to commit to make it worth their time. Our college, like many others, want to make sure that every single class they take is a step forward to a new career or an enhanced career. We will work hard to understand their goals and to achieve a path for them to accomplish those goals. We will assist them in financial needs, academic needs, social needs during their college experience. Now, we know that these Futures for Frontliners students will have personal goals and professional goals that they'll need to educate us about. We frankly know that not one size fits all for these students. They'll be from various backgrounds and various ages, but we know that a degree or a post-high school credential will make them and our society better. That's why we offer so many different academic programs, and all of them are tied to closing Michigan's skills gap. These programs are candidly a path to the middle class, and Michigan frontliners deserve that path. So we are committed to helping frontliners in any program, in any academic program in our college to help them in that path. And we'll support them all the way, from graduation and into their new careers. Futures for Frontliners is something Michigan needs, which is why we are supporting it. We look forward to working with the governor, the legislature, and our partners in industry to continue to craft programs that will move Michigan forward to help our workforce, our society, and our community. Thank you.
Well, I want to thank Russ and John and Rachel and Andrea. Appreciate your making time to be here with all of us and your help in ensuring that these pathways really are a reality for opportunity for so many people in our state. I know that we are going to jump into a few questions with the press, and so I'm happy to do that. I think I just want to make a quick observation with recent developments that have happened in the last 24 hours. And we are 6 months into our experience with COVID-19. It's been tough, and almost 200,000 Americans have lost their lives to COVID. We have millions who are out of work, and there's still not a national strategy around masking or PPE or testing. We know that more Americans have died from COVID-19 than World War II and the Vietnam War combined. And yesterday, on the day that we hit 190,000, exceeded 190,000 people dead in the United States, we learned from some revelations from Bob Woodward that the president admitted in a tape this past February that he knew that COVID-19 passes through the air. He knew it was a lot more deadly than the flu, despite all of the representations that have been made in the last 6 months. He knew then, and he purposefully downplayed it. He even said, I wanted to always play it down. Experts say that if we'd acted just 1 week sooner as a nation, 36,000 people would have been saved. 2 weeks sooner, 54,000. Lives that would have been spared in March and April. We will not be in a state of emergency forever. And I made a comment in an interview the other day that I thought we were in the earlier phases of COVID-19. And what I meant by that is we are learning an exponential amount about this virus every single day. And I anticipate we're going to be learning so much at such a quick clip now and in the coming months. But I believe that this is a matter of months, frankly. And no one's more eager to get out of a state of emergency than I. But we've had to make tough decisions throughout this process. With a federal government that hasn't been doing it, I think it's important that so many governors have. And I thank you for the work that you've done to keep yourself safe and your family safe and your neighbors safe. And I want you to know we're in this together. We'll continue to work through it together. Michigan's shown great leadership, and we're going to get through this. I've got, while I'm as depressed about that news that came out of Washington, D.C. in the last 24 hours, I'm more determined than ever to make sure that we do get out of this and we get smarter and stronger every day that goes by. So with that, I'm happy to open it up for a few questions from the press.
Hey, Governor, the first question will come from Cody Butler with TV10.
Good morning, Governor. So I guess can you kind of talk more about what your reaction was when you found out that Trump purposely downplayed this for months?
Well, I thank you for the question. I've had a lot of emotions about it, to be honest, because I've seen our nursing home workers who are already going through PTSD because of all of the stress and the loss of people that they care for and that they care about. I've seen our grocery store workers who are been pushed to the brink and work so many extra hours, not to mention all of the healthcare workers on the front lines in our hospitals. And my personal opinion was that this administration has been reckless and not particularly well informed. I've never believed that they read all the briefings that they're supposed to read. But it's a whole nother thing to be reckless or ignorant and to be deceptive and to have American lives lost because of it. They knew, they didn't tell us. And I think the biggest enemy of the state right now is the misinformation that's coming out of the head of state. I think the biggest threat to the American people is the American president right now. And it's devastating, and I do not relish saying that. But the fact of the matter is, there's been so much more loss of life because we haven't had accurate, consistent medical information just coming out of the chief executive of our nation. Today, there will be some people gathering in Saginaw County, a county that we're watching very closely for the numbers of COVID. And the president, I know, is coming to town, and if the rallies are like those he's held in recent days in other states, there'll be lots of people close together without masks on, projecting their voices. And I'm concerned about it. And this is not a partisan observation. We are in a public health crisis. We all want to get out of this public health crisis. And it's going to take every one of us doing the right things to get out of it together and to make this as short as possible. We will not be here forever. I'm hopeful it's a matter of months. I believe that to be the case. But every one of us has to do our part, and we have to be honest about how serious this situation is.
Okay, Governor, the next question will come from Kim Russell with TV7 in Detroit.
Hi, Governor. Everyone supports giving opportunities to frontline workers, but one question I have is that money being taken from K-12 schools, since it is education funding from the federal government, at a time when we're seeing other frontline workers, our teachers, in many cases, being asked to take pay cuts?
Well, actually, the dollars are they are from the CARES Act funds. So this funds a full year. These are dollars that were set up for my discretion, working with the legislature to further educational goals. So they're not coming out of the school aid fund. They are dollars that are to be used to further our educational goals and create opportunities. And so it is a good way to supplement and encourage those who haven't finished their high school diplomas to do that, to get a certificate in a program or to get a degree. And that's the intent of those dollars, and that's what they're going to be used for.
Okay, Governor, the next question will come from Matt Price with TV6 in the UP.
Good morning, Governor. Yesterday, you signed an executive order telling high school fall athletes to wear masks while on the field or on the court during games, just 1 week after giving fall sports the green light, especially contact sports like football. What prompted you to make that decision yesterday? And as a second question, is it possible that we could see fans, at your direction, see fans being allowed to attend high school sporting events at some capacity in the coming weeks and months, as long as they wear masks and socially distance?
Yeah, I'm not surprised to get this question. I am glad you asked it because I know that it's on a number of people's minds. I'll just observe last week when we announced $5 billion investment in Michigan, I got 5 questions about high school football. And I know that we are all passionate about sports. This is a part of who we are. It's a part of how we come together. It's how we support good, healthy fun as an American pastime. And yet I know that it's important that we can engage in some of these things that make life feel a little more normal, but we still have to be very smart about it for our student athletes, for their families, for our educators. So every one of us has a duty to do our part to make sure we get this right. Masking up is an important part of functioning in the midst of COVID-19. And we know that in workplaces all across the country, people are masking up and they're able to re-engage the economy and stay safe doing that. We can re-engage in some of these other ways, but we have to do it. We have to be smart about it. And so there are a number of different companies that are creating masks specifically designed to help athletes stay safe while they are running and blocking and playing football and other sports. And so we believe that this is one important way that we resume some football, but we got to do it with these protocols to keep people safe. And that's just really what it's all about. And same goes for anyone who is in the stands or taking part. We still recognize that the more people that come together, the more people who are projecting their voices, the more inherently risky the conduct is, and that's why we're trying to do this and step into it and do it right, and hopefully we'll be successful. But we're counting on everyone to do their part.
Okay, we'll take a few more questions. So the next one will come from Lauren Gibbons with MLive.
Just a follow-up on that high school athletes question. Are you concerned at all about local compliance, especially, in local football fields or just like, I guess, are you concerned about compliance at all, or, the potential safety aspect of people exerting a lot of energy while wearing these masks?
We are seeing that this is becoming ubiquitous, and it is happening. We know that there are women who are in labor for 20 hours wearing a mask, and that is some of the hardest work you can do. I know. But the fact of the matter is, I don't want to make light of the necessity of mask wearing. It's really important, and if we want to engage in football, we've got to be smart about it, and we've got to protect our student athletes and our fans and our families alike. And that's why, the ability to engage in these things is a part of our life that we can do if we continue to keep our numbers down and we continue to all do our part. And that's why, I'm just going to sound like a broken record here, but the fact of the matter is we all have to continue to take this very seriously. And if people drop their guard and we don't have compliance and numbers spike, we're going to have to take steps backward. And And I know none of us wants to, me especially. So we're really imploring districts and leagues, coaches and families alike to ensure they do everything to keep the student athletes safe and encourage the behavior that'll do that.
The next question will come from Zach Gorchow with Thornburg.
Good morning, Governor. I'm wondering what your intentions are with the nursing home task force report that came out last week, or at least within the last several days. Are you planning to issue an executive order adopting those recommendations in whole or part? And how soon might we see a decision on that?
So we're obviously familiarizing ourselves with the task force recommendations. We want to make sure that we are continually learning and getting smarter. I think that's the part of this virus that we're learning more about the epidemiology of this virus. We're learning more about the transmission of this virus every single day. If you've studied the 1918 flu pandemic, you know that it was such a huge threat to children. That's not the case in this one. And so the smartest people in the world are learning an incredible amount every single day, and we are learning as well. And so I think that this is one part of making better informed determinations as we continue to move forward. Dr. J, anything you want to add? Okay, I'm going to let Dr. J step in.
Oh, that's a great question, and there are many people from the Department of Health and Human Services who also participated on the task force. So right now we're looking at all of the recommendations. We're looking at how we can strengthen our current policies, improve them even more, things like visitation, technical assistance, providing PPE and guidance. So we're looking at all of those recommendations, and we'll be providing more guidance and direction in the upcoming weeks.
Okay, and the last question will come from Rob Maloney with TV4.
Good morning, Governor. The World Health Organization website says that children should not wear a mask when playing sports or doing physical activities such as running, jumping, or playing on a playground so that it doesn't compromise their breathing. U.S. Volleyball's return to play guidelines recommend all attendees be required to wear face masks except for athletes on the court playing. The Cleveland Clinic says that running with a mask means that you should be looking out for chest pains, dizziness, lightheadedness, difficulty, or labored breathing. So knowing all of that, specifically what science or data are you using in requiring mask wearing for sports like football, volleyball, soccer in Michigan?
Rod, I'm going to ask Dr. J to address your question. Thank you.
So it's a great question. Let me also say I'm a former college athlete. My 3 children are also athletes, so this is not something that we take lightly. I can say, of course, I've looked at the WHO website. We understand that wearing a mask makes it less comfortable to participate in a sport. We also understand there's some data, I would not say that it's proven, but there's some data that shows that the parameters, if you will, trying to keep my language simple, but things like respiratory rate could potentially increase if you're wearing a mask while exercising. But we do not have any proof that someone cannot exercise. And if they can't, quite frankly, then maybe they won't be able to participate, unfortunately, at this time. But for contact sports, it is recommended, given where we are with COVID-19 cases across the state, it is recommended to wear a mask. And if someone is unable to, then they may not be able to participate at this time.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Thank you.
您好，我叫 Cindy， 我是一名2020年人口普查员。我的工作是探访并协助尚未完成普查的家庭。我会佩戴口罩，以确保每个人的安全。普查数据有助于分配每年数千亿的公共资金。抓住这次机会，您可选择上网、邮寄、致电，或由普查员协助完成问卷。你我未来由此展开，请上2020census.gov/languages 完成普查。